Richie.
Hi, Sin.
Hi, everyone. And welcome to something that we haven't recorded in a while and probably forgot existed.
Yeah, because someone's been streaming New Vegas
Well, this was forgotten before
to an
that,
audience
okay?
of dozens.
And what are we talking about today, Richie?
Bloodborne, aka the thing that people come to the channel for.
Specifically...
Runes of Bloodborne!
So I actually have the runes outline.
Ooh.
However, I need to modify it quickly to be consistent with the what, where, why outline.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to re-record all of the runes as what, where, why.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't suggest it, you did.
Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be fine, but moving forward, we'll try and
Yeah,
modify the
okay.
outline.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the
Because if
questions
there's a lot
are...
of demand, we'll do Runes of Bloodborne Revised Edition.
Oh my god. Uh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And let me see. Let's see if the why question is here. Good. And then we'll I guess who occupied it, utilized it before would probably not apply.
Well, it's in someone's head, so like...
Who does it occupy is
Well, yeah,
how
but the
we'll put
answer,
it.
it's most of the time it's going to be like a generic healing church corpse that you found on the ground.
Okay. So that's actually already asked in what is the location of the rune? Okay. Okay. So actually the rune outline was pretty good.
Yeah, you did a very
All
good
right.
job.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if like you've just broken my brain at this point, but I feel like
What's happening?
you are the only person who's allowed to make Souls content anymore.
What the? You know what? I agree.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that's allowed and qualified. All right, Richie.
Yes,
You ready?
I am ready.
All right.
All right.
So, Richie,
Yes.
today we're going to talk about the lake runes.
So,
And I
wait,
remember...
we have to be a little more specific here.
Well, no. Last time we had this conversation, it was a very heated debate about whether or not we do all the lake rune at once,
Mm-hmm.
or if we do them one by one.
Mm-hmm.
After much consideration,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to go with your idea of doing all the 5 lake runes at once.
So every instance of the there will do 15 in this one episode. Because there's 5 kinds of lake rune and each one's got 3 tiers to it. So what you're suggesting is we do 15 lake runes in one episode.
I thought you were gonna be happy. I thought you were gonna be like, thank you. Thank you, Sin.
Listen.
Thanks for listening to my suggestion for once, Sin. That's a very good idea. And here you go, being like, actually, there's 15.
Well, okay, firstly, that's not me being a party pooper. That's just me stating the fairly unremarkable fact that a rune in Bloodborne has 3 tiers to it. But I actually, like, if you wanted to do all 15 in one sitting in like an hour, I'd be fine with that because it's like 10 p.m. I'm going to be up.
Okay. So let's do that. We're going to race through 15 runes, never been done before, anywhere, on any Souls channel.
I don't think it has. But I don't think, like, any of this has been done before because it's so niche and bizarre.
So what we will do is...
Okay.
Do all the lake runes have the same text?
Apart from listing what they defend, yeah.
All right. So, how we're going to do it is we're going to go... First, there's 5 main runes, right? Arcane Lake, Dissipating Lake, Fading Lake, Great Lake, and Lake.
Yes.
Wow. Just lake. I feel bad for the little just lake. Didn't get no fancy word.
Lake's fine. It's like the first one you find.
Yeah.
It's the one near
You know
Hemwick, near
there's
the lake.
there's an expression in Russian where it's like the first pancake you make is going to be ruined.
Yeah.
So that's what it is like. This is the first lake rune they made and it wasn't too good. So it's just lake and the rest are good.
Okay.
And runes kind of look like pancakes.
Let's go.
Okay. So, let's start with Arcane Lake.
Okay, I'll
There's
just
three
call it
versions
up.
of Arcane Lake.
Yeah, hang on. Okay.
Do you want me to send you a link?
You know, you're in my brain, so I just typed arcane cake.
Arcane Cake?
Okay, arcane lake.
Okay.
Well, no, but do you want to talk about what like the because all they are is they defend against different things. So do you want to like an
Okay, so let's
overview
talk
of the
about them
lakes?
generally and then at
Okay.
the end we'll go over each one. Okay, so
Okay.
Richie,
Yes.
lake. Why does
Lake.
each of those things have lake in the end?
Because the idea is that the lake, right, the water in the lake, is
Mm-hmm.
the dividing line between the waking world and the dreamlands. The
Mm-hmm.
surface of the lake, so it's like a barrier. So when you transcribe the lake, when you embody the lake, then you sort of get a barrier around you that stops things going through, which manifests as a defense boost.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll write it. I'll read it out here. It says, "This transcription of the Great One's voices ripples like a watery reflection. The rune means lake, and those branded by it enjoy augmented defense." And then that will change depending on the kind of lake we're looking at, what it's defending against. And then it says, "Great volumes of water serve as a bulwark, guarding sleep, and an augur of the eldritch truth. Overcome this hindrance and seek what is yours." So the idea is like, again, the lake is the barrier, the lake is the hindrance, the lake is what's preventing you from getting to the thing on the other side. So that's why lake sort of symbolically raises our defense.
Okay, and you say bulwark?
Yeah,
So when you say that, do you know what vision I have? And every time I see that rune and that word,
go on.
now you can tell by the way I do my walk, I'm a bull. No time to talk. So imagine this really cool bull, but he's like walking on like two legs. You know what I mean? And he has a really cool jacket, and he's doing a really cool dance. That's a bull walk.
Okay, do you know what a bulwark is apart from that?
Tell us your interpretation of that word.
It just means like a barrier or like a
Okay.
defensive thing.
So a bull could be a barrier, like if you have to fight one to go somewhere. So
Well,
I'm not
that
entirely
happens in
off.
Sekiro, so the master Miyazaki does it again.
Thank you, Richie. Um. Okay. So. Okay. People don't know this yet. This is gonna be a revelation. This is gonna be a revelation. This is gonna be awesome. I'm a brilliant genius. I have an idea.
I'd never doubted you.
This is the one where you read it in a special voice.
Uh-huh.
So the part that's the same for all the runes. You don't have to
Yes.
read the other part. Could you read it in your best Venom voice?
Hang on.
Great volumes of water serve as a bulwark guarding sleep and an augur of the eldritch truth.
Amazing.
Thank you. I can do. Hang on, this is better. Okay, hang on. Great volumes of water serve as a bulwark guarding sleep and an augur of the eldritch truth.
Thank you, Venom.
That
Thank you for coming
veered
to read
dangerously closely to Cookie Monster at some points, but it's a,
that. Excellent.
it's a balancing act.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Venom.
Thank you.
Okay, my screen just fell asleep again. All right, let's wake it up. Okay, great. So now the lake runes. Were they all built around the same time?
What does that mean?
Oh my god, were they all created around the same time?
But what?
Okay,
All right.
Wait, because the way I imagine the runes is that we already
Mhm.
agreed it's a pebble, and Carol's like sitting there trying to make transcriptions on pebbles with like a hammer and a.
Oh, sorry, I'd forgotten that part. Carol runes are something that recur throughout the game. They recur throughout the world, they recur throughout history, and they always kind of look the same.
Mhm.
So, like, not 100%, but essentially, regardless of who transcribes them, they look basically the same. And
Mhm.
it says that they're the voices of the Great Ones. So, are you familiar with Plato's forms? Because this is how I talked about them with Redgrave.
Your face is a form.
Thank you. So the
Oh,
idea behind Plato's forms is that, like, to Plato, there are certain things like geometry, like a triangle. Like, there is one perfect triangle that just exists regardless of everything else around it. And when we draw a triangle, we're trying to copy that triangle. So there's like one that we're transcribing the idea of there's a perfect form of a triangle that we
mhm.
then interpret that exists independently of any like single human interpretation, any single human mind. There is just like in the collective, not even the collective unconscious, just like out there, like metaphysically, there is the one perfect thing you're trying to copy. And that's true of everything. There's like a perfect form of something. And what we have in reality are attempts to sort of like copy that form. Right.
Mhm.
So that to me is what the runes make me think of, because it's like those runes they're just the voices of the great ones. They exist. Everyone who tries to transcribe a Carol rune is trying to transcribe the same thing. They're trying to transcribe the same voice of the great ones, and it is just there. So that's when you say like when were they built, that's getting to this point where it's like, okay, they kind of, as far as we can tell, always existed. Because the great ones don't have a specific point of origin. They just always were. Like, obviously, they do have a point of origin. But as far as the game's concerned, there's like always been great ones. We don't know when this cycle started. We don't know who the first great one was. We don't know, like, exactly what led to it. They just are.
So basically, a rune originates when a great one speaks it.
No, but like, well, but when did the great ones, like, who said it first? Like, there doesn't have a point of origin. It's just, like, it's basically
Yes, it
always existed.
does. So at some point, we don't know when, one great one was like, "Hey guys," they're like having a great one lunch or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Hey guys, I just made a new word," and they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Lake," and they're like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
lake." So that
Okay.
first lake was the point of origin, right?
Sure.
Thank you. And okay, so then that's cool. So some
So what
great
I'm
ones said,
getting at is that no, but it's more complicated than that. Because
"Oh
what I'm getting
no."
at is all
Yes.
these runes have 2 points of origin. Because there's the point of origin of that sign, which is the sign for lake. But then every time we
Mhm.
pick up lake, it's an individual transcription of it, and that transcription has its own point of origin. So basically, every time we run into a lake rune, like there's
Mhm.
the sort of eternal form of the lake rune, but then there's also like that specific lake rune has a point of origin because like that person thought lake or saw lake or had lake imprinted on them.
Mhm. So basically, it's a great one that spoke lake at some point, and then a human that envisioned it. And sometimes
Yeah,
multiple
yeah.
humans envision it at different times or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's the thing, because it's not like every single time you see a carol rune, it's because the great one spoke that word. It's that like it's almost like something that's left behind when someone dies. Like
Yeah,
we talked
whenever,
about
I
this
don't think, yeah,
a
yeah,
bit
go
with
on.
communion, where like the game just
Mhm.
places the communion rune at places where there's going to be communion. But it
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily mean that like someone actually wrote communion down and carried it around with them. It's like
Mhm.
this is a
Yes.
place of communion, ergo the communion rune is there. It's that.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Richie. So basically, we don't know when the Great One spoke it, which Great One spoke it. We're not sure when the person who has that rune envisioned it entirely.
Yeah.
Though some instances are more clear than others, like the rune that Lawrence envisioned or whatever.
Yeah.
the room that the Lean envisioned, like we can be like, okay, that's when it happened.
Yeah.
But for these specific runes, we'll look at them in detail later, but by memory, there doesn't seem to be a specific point.
Well, no, I think not a specific point, but you can judge it by like whose corpse it is and where it is. Sort of
Yeah,
figure out.
yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Which materials were used?
It's completely insubstantial. It is a thought, so I don't know if
Okay, how are thoughts made? How are thoughts made?
I don't
Okay.
think Google is going to.
Well, Google just told me.
Uh-huh.
They're really just electrochemical reactions, but the number and complexity of these reactions make them hard to fully understand. The human brain is composed of about 100 billion nerve cells. Whoa!
You have a psych degree. Stop pretending you don't know this.
I was wondering when Rich was gonna call me out. But I didn't get to the good part. It says interconnected by trillions of connections called synapses. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Richie. Okay. And you actually talked about the effect of the rune when you read the text.
Yeah.
So that's done. The location of the runes we'll talk about when we go through each one. And let me ask you about the Japanese translation. Does the general idea differ from the English
I don't
text?
think the idea differs. I don't have it with me, but I think like if it had been different, I would have noted down that it was different like years ago when I went through the Japanese script.
Okay. Yeah, I also don't see how it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's no surrogates or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the next question is, what great one is associated with the rune, and what great one spoke it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
No.
Wait, but can't we guess? Let's see.
Okay, guess then.
Lake of Mud, lake. Who lives in a lake?
Wrong.
Fishes live in a lake. Rom lives in a lake. Octopuses live in a lake. Cthulhu lives in a lake. Can we say Cthulhu? Can we say Cthulhu spoke it? Could have been. Yes?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, last one. Make up a new name for the rune. Okay. You already did that, Richie, inadvertently.
Go on.
The cake rune. So it's basically cake, great, cake, fading, cake, dissipating, cake, arcane, cake.
If your cake is dissipating, change the recipe.
Thank you, Richie. Okay, so now we can go through each rune individually just to look at the details. Let's start with lake.
Okay, hang on. Let's just pull this up. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So name lake. Yeah.
Okay.
Tier 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
This is likely the first one you'll encounter because it's in Hemwick. It's just on the and this is found on a corpse that is overlooking the lake.
Whoa!
And it's a corpse that is behind a Hemwick woman and her dogs. And it's at kind of like a dead end. So my take on it is like someone was in Hemwick, they were rushing, and they were caught by that woman and the dogs at a dead end, and she killed them, and as they were dying, they just saw the lake, and that imprinted on them, and we have the lake rune.
Mm-hmm. So there could be a great one hiding in that lake.
Well, it's confusing because that lake used to be a lot more significant in the early versions, but it isn't really now.
So?
Because it was the way you got to the Nightmare Frontier. It was like the original Moonside Lake concept, where there'd be this lake, and then the moon would be reflecting in it, and then you would jump in it, and that would transport you to the Nightmare Frontier. And that would be like end game would be Nightmare Frontier followed by Nightmare of Mensis. But then in the version we got, they obviously changed it up a bit. So it's
Well, that makes yeah. Go on.
yeah. So now like they changed it up a bit. Nightmare Frontier is a separate area, and they reused the concept for Rom. So now you jump into the lake to meet Rom.
So that makes sense if this lake is significant and you look at it and it's like
Yeah.
lake. That's cool. Yeah, makes sense. So the other two runes are found in the dungeons.
Yeah.
Lake 2 is found in Cursed and Defiled Root Chalice. Lake 3, Thumaru, Ihil Root Chalice. So what do you think it means when a rune is generally found in a dungeon?
Well, a lot of the runes are found in dungeons, but they tend to be kind of relevant. So like Cursed and Defiled and Thumaru Ihil are both Thumaru chalices, so it's sort of like, I guess Thumaru is the base chalice, so you get the basic lake rune there. Yeah.
Okay. And the in-game description says, a carol rune that transcribes in human sounds. The transcription of great ones in human voices ripples like a watery reflection. This rune means lake, and those who memorize it enjoy reduced physical damage.
Yeah.
Great volumes of water serve as a bulwark guarding sleep. Now you can tell them the way you might walk.
Yeah, you're gonna do that every time for every rune, so we get it 16 times in total.
And then an augur of the eldritch truth?
Yes, it is. Yeah. The great one who spoke lake was me.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. Figure it out. Yay. I like how when I said augur and visualized the little slug, it appeared.
Yeah, that's the power of the great ones. You're ascending.
Oh my god. We'll need to make like a rune for all our characters. Like which runes are them, you know?
Yeah. Well, you invented the horsefish rune.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah. And I actually put as a reference that you would get if you were in my house, which you're not, and no one else will get it. Is that I have a print of Ludwig that Vodka Folly drew. And I have that, and I have it next to a picture of a seahorse.
Aww.
So it's like Ludwig is envisioning the horsefish.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Richie. Okay. Overcome this hindrance and seek what is yours.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So we can move on to the next one. Which next rune do you want to do?
It's up to you.
Let's go in like order here. Great Lake.
Okay, let's find Great Lake.
So
Alrighty.
the word what?
All right.
The word great can have many definitions.
Yep.
Such as this is awesome or this is very large. What sense is this used in?
Okay. So this is called Great Lake because it's the lake rune that gives you defense against everything. So it's a more powerful lake. So the lake rune from before, that was just physical damage. The other ones are just like just arcane or just bolt or just fire. This is everything. So it's the Great Lake. It's the best. It's the best of the lake runes.
So it could actually be called Best Lake Rune, or as we refer to it, Best Cake Rune.
Yeah, it's the best overall. It doesn't give you as much defense against a specific element as you'd get from like it won't give you as much defense as against physical as a lake rune, but it will defend you against kind of more things. So it's the best all-rounder unless you know you're fighting like, you know, Lauren Dark Beast or something and you specifically want like lightning defense. Or you're fighting Mikolash and you want arcane defense because Mikolash is the worst.
Awesome. And again, the only thing that differs in this description is that it says it gives you reduced damage.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Cool. And all right, so the in-game rune, Great Lake 2, is found in Upper Cathedral Ward.
Yes.
Uh,
It's on the corpse that is like right after the lantern, and it's covered in little celestial children kind of
mhm.
squirming around it. Yeah.
So, did somebody envision Lake after talking to the
Well,
celestial
no, because
children?
like like the lake and the cosmos are the sky, so it's like someone from the choir who was messing around,
Mm-hmm.
and like they envisioned like the cosmos is the sky, which is the lake, which is like the barrier between the worlds. So presumably that dead person is a choir member who was meditating.
Mm-hmm.
They sort of envisioned like the Great Lake. It's what Mikolash, the Great Lake of Mud, right? The Mikolash
Yeah.
line that annoys the fuck out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically because there was a different translation that they had and changed, and I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
So this takes us to Mikolash. So Mikolash has a line in his boss fight, which a lot of people remember because it's very mysterious and odd, where he says, "The Grand Lake of Mud hidden now from sight." So that is a very odd choice of line that baffles me because they actually had a different and more accurate translation early on, and they swapped it out for this one because I've like seen an early draft they have a different one that's better. So,
Mm-hmm.
what he's saying when he talks about the lake of mud,
Mm-hmm.
he's not in Japanese. He's not talking about like a lake made of mud. He's talking about a lake that has mud in it. The idea is that there is this mud that we are stuck in. Like we're sort of like knee deep in this mud, and that mud is stopping us from seeing that there is this beautiful lake. So instead of like the Grand Lake of Mud hidden now from sight, it's like the Grand Lake is hidden from sight by the mud.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a more accurate way of doing it. And I think in the one that they had and then got rid of was sunk in mud we cannot see the water of the lake, which is like
Mm-hmm.
perfect. Like that's exactly what it's
Yeah,
the connotation
that's
is.
really good.
And I
Yeah.
don't know why they changed it because it was there and it was recorded and then they just didn't use it.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's
Interesting.
what they mean about like the lake, because during that thing he's also yelling like the cosmos, the cosmos. So the idea is like the lake is the cosmos, the lake is the great like rippling sky that is also the means by which we meet the great ones, the means by which we ascend is the lake.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole kind of like metaphor, that sort of chain of linking of like the lake and the sky and the cosmos, and they're all the same thing, and the lake is the barrier, and when you pass through the water of the lake you're like in another world. That's a little bit lost basically because of that one line that doesn't quite link them together. It makes it sound like there is actually like he's literally talking about a lake made of mud. And I remember when that happened,
Mm-hmm.
we were like, Lake of Mud, is that thing at Bergenworth? Because there's all this mud around it. And I'm like, is he just talking about how he can't see the Bergenworth Lake anymore because he's stuck in the nightmare?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he means the like it's like the sky and the cosmos are one, basically. So in a very, very roundabout way, and I know that took a long time, that's why there is a choir member who has seen the lake. Because the choir are all about let's go to this, let's look in the sky, let's meet Ebrietus.
But the way I envision it, the choir member is like feeding the little slugs, the little
Yeah.
celestials.
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, choir member, you want to learn a new word? And the choir member's like, yeah. And they're like, lake. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. Thanks, little slugs.
Then died.
Died of happiness because they're so cute. Remember we established that this is some sort of a zoo, like a petting zoo, a little celestial zoo?
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
so cute.
The problem is it's hard for me to know when we talk about these things how much I'm supposed to bring from the game and how much is things that we have quote unquote established earlier on. Because I can't really remember.
Thank you, Richie. And the other two Great Lakes, such as
Yeah.
1 and 3, I found in Lower Hinter to Root Chalice and is Root Chalice.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Lower Hintertomb, I don't really know because the Hintertombs are just kind of crap. Like,
Mhm.
you do find a lot of Madman stuff in the Hintertombs. Like, if you're doing the chalices in, I guess you'd say in order. Like, if you sort of do them in depth order, Hintertombs is the first place it starts to get a little, like, eldritch because you start running into brain suckers. And it's got the Madman in it. So I guess, like, Hintertombs is somewhere that, like the choir went exploring.
Mhm.
I guess it's also worth pointing out that, like, you might think you don't see choir members in the chalices, but the tomb prospectors with the Rosmarinus, like they're choir members. They're just dressed for tomb prospecting. They just don't have the choir robes on.
Mhm.
So
Okay. Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you, Richie.
and like East, obviously East is like the choir's big deal. Like they went. East is like their greatest accomplishment is finally reaching East.
And what did they find in Ease?
They found Great Lake Tier 3, all damage reduction plus 5%.
No! They found a Brutus!
Didn't they not find Ebruitus? Because he'd left?
No, didn't a Brutus go to Ease? That's his home planet?
But isn't the point that, like, they went looking for Ebruitus and he wasn't there because he descended?
But I thought he ascended to Ease. And then...
No, he ascended from East, because Ebruitus is left in East. Because
Oh,
she's not
Ibritus is
powerful.
left in Ease. She's left in a cathedral. I thought Ease was the place they're ascending to.
No, they found Ebruitus in East and brought her back to the cathedral. As I recall, and I don't know why I recall this better than you, because it's your bizarre, like, universe that this is set in, but as I remember it, the plot that we came up with was that Ebruitus is the last surviving, like, one that was left there because all the other ones ascended from East and left her behind. So, like, Ebruitus, Bell Bruitus, Buff Bruitus, Sir Bruitus, or the Ebruitai, I believe. It's the plural that you used. They all left East. They all ascended, leaving Ebruitus behind.
Right, they ascended to their unknown home planet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
They unfortunately did not remain. And continued making baffling appearances on this podcast.
Thank you, Richie. Okay. Fading Lake.
Alright.
So, we have Fading Lake 1, 2, 3, Nightmare Frontier, Ailing Lauren Root Chalice, Lore Ailing Lauren Root Chalice. So, why is it in the Nightmare Frontier, most important?
You find a bunch of lake runes in the Nightmare Frontier. And I think it's because that might be a legacy of when you literally had to go through a lake to get there, that they envisioned the lake as they fell through it.
You find a bunch of lake runes? How many?
It's like 2 or 3, I think.
What? Are we sure?
Nightmare Frontier has more going on in it than you probably initially think, because there's that big poison. Yeah, because you just
race through that and never come back.
Yeah, but if, like me, you were required to write down the location of every single item in the game.
By the Slav constitution?
Yeah, by the transitive property of Slavness, I have to do everything you and Meph tell me to do. There are quite a few lake runes. There's actually a lot of Carol runes in the Nightmare Frontier. I get the feeling they probably just maybe dumped them there because they didn't know where else to put them.
Mm-hmm.
Apologies to Miyazaki. But yeah, the Nightmare Frontier itself, like, it's kind of a lake in some ways.
Oh, how so?
Well, there's a big lake of poison in the middle of it.
You mean a swamp?
Yeah, but it's also kind of a lake.
Well, if you got a rune from a swamp, the rune would be like Miyazaki or something, not lake. Is it a swamp that's trying to pass it off for a lake?
I don't know. Yeah, I really
don't know. Is it like
know.
another romantic comedy where, like, a swamp is, like, feeling really insecure because it's a swamp, but what
Isn't
it really
that
wants
the plot of Shrek?
Is to be a beautiful lake. Oh my god. Because Shrek lives in the swamp. Thank you,
Yeah,
Richie.
thank you.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so you find a bunch of the Nightmare Frontier, probably like, again, going back to the choir, the idea is like the lake is the cosmos is the sky. So when you sort of ascend to the Nightmare Frontier, in a sense, you've ascended through the lake. And it probably made more sense early on when you literally got there by jumping in a lake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And any comments on Ailing, Lauren Rucellus, lore?
Yeah, because
Ailing,
Ailing Lauren is like the fire area. It's where you find like fire gems and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it makes sense. And like Ailing Lauren is somewhere that they had to deal with the plague of the beast like before Yarnum did, so you're in a position where like they probably had to like use fire a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, Richie. So now let's move on to Dissipating Lake.
Okay.
Oh, and we forgot to mention the special properties. Okay, so let's just do it right now.
Okay.
Lake is physical damage reduction. Great Lake is all damage reduction. Fading Lake is fire damage reduction. Dissipating Lake is bolt damage reduction. Arcane Lake is arcane damage reduction.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Okay, so Dissipating Lake.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Forbidden Woods, Ailing Lauren Rucellus, Lore Ailing Lauren Rucellus.
Yeah.
So, why is Dissipating Lake in the Forbidden Woods?
That's a good question because you find it's on a corpse like under a tree. And I guess like
Under the tree.
what?
Under the tree.
Yeah.
Na 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 na. Thank you, Richie.
Yeah. So it's a corpse under a tree that's surrounded by those the drowned corpse enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't know why it's there at all.
Well, it's kind of a little lake under the tree.
No, it's in water. Like it's
Yeah, it's a little water thing under
Yeah.
the tree. And what does dissipating mean, Richie?
it's like a lake that's sort of gradually going away.
And there's not enough water to be a lake, so maybe the corpse is in a lake that like gradually went away.
Yeah, I mean it's possible.
And
That's
maybe
one possible interpretation. Laughs. Chuckles.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you, Miyazaki. I wonder if there's a great one anywhere in that lake. There are those little firebugs, light bulb bugs.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell you something cool actually. This is like
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
podcast exclusive.
Yay.
So when you're talking about the firefly things, they're in one specific part of the lake, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Not the part with dissipating lake runes, but another part.
Yeah.
So early on, the big snake ball boss that they cut from the game, right?
Yeah.
Even when the Shadows of Yharnam were there,
Uh-huh.
they were going to have the snake ball boss appear in that little firefly area
Uh-huh.
as like an optional fight.
Okay.
Yes, like it was going to be after the Red Moon. If you went back to Forbidden Woods, like the environment changed and the snake would pop out of the ground there and you could fight it.
So is that why the little firebugs are there, to make it like a different area, like something significant?
I don't know. I think they're just there to work as a landmark. Like, I don't know if they really...
I know. I think I always felt like it's really weird. You put one firebug family in there and nowhere else.
Yeah.
I think we'll need to do more investigating.
Okay.
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 Do you want to talk about the Chalice Dungeon Lake dissipating
I
lake?
guess we can, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know how I said, oh yeah, Ailing Lauren's like the fireplace? Because it's got... So Ailing Lauren's like the bolt place as well. Because there's all this lightning arcing everywhere, and there's like lightning bosses down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Amazing.
Rachel. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
And
no,
the
okay,
last-
there's more.
And the last one, the coolest sounding one, arcane cake.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Alrighty. Yep.
Yahargul, Unseen Village,
You know
Blood
how I
Moon.
said there's a bunch in the Nightmare Frontier?
Yeah, yeah.
There's one.
Why did you say
I'm
there's a
thinking of the sea runes, which are different.
Ah, thank you, Richie. Okay, so Yahargul, Unseen Village, Blood
Yeah,
Moon,
yeah.
Bergenworth, Easroot Chalice.
We've got 2 above ground locations this time, so it's twice as good.
Whoa, amazing.
I know.
Tell me about Yahargul, Unseen Village, and why is the room there?
You find it on a corpse that is like after the horrible ritual's gone down. So
Why would you call the ritual horrible?
that's
Maybe
true. I
to
didn't see it. I don't know what happened. I shouldn't be. How like the Master Miyazaki to make us think the ritual was horrible when it was actually a water slide. And that's where the lake rune comes from. Because you go at the bottom of the water slide into a pool. Bravo!
Thank you, Richie. What I was getting at is maybe because Thumerians or whatever are part of the ritual, right? Like
Yeah.
they're performing it. So maybe to them it looks like a beautiful, happy ritual. Like there are roses everywhere, balloons, like butterflies are flying around. The sunshine is there, and it's like sunshine, butterflies,
Well,
and
that's if you do rituals in the chalices, the Thumerians really like it. They love it.
so you see, so maybe it's just horrible to us humans because we don't get it, but to them it's just like so beautiful, and they're sharing
Yeah.
their love for the runes with the humans. You know?
Yeah, it's like, if you were a goth or something, people might look at what you were doing and think, "Oh, that's hideous," but it's like, no, it's like it's beautiful to you,
Yeah, exactly.
and they just need to get on your level.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, like
I'm
if
glad
your bedroom was entirely pastel and lit with rainbow LEDs, family members might express concern, but they just don't get it.
Thank you, Richie. Okay, so Yahargul, Unseen Village, Blood Moon. Why is the arcane link there?
Because there was a ritual that went down, and I guess like they were opening up the nightmare by doing it. So again, it's like, right, the you know how there's the people and they're like stuck in the sides of the walls.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, we like the world sort of overlapped and started melting and everything, and it's like that. It's like we're breaking through the surface of the lake. Like the reality is breaking down. Like it's that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Richie. And Bergenworth.
Well, what would you say is one of the defining features of Bergenworth?
I'm just.
Take your time. Take your time.
You know what this brings me back to?
Do I?
When you were like, are there any significant spiders in Bloodborne? And I'm like, nope. Think, go through the game. Like, nope. Bergenworth, nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lake in Bergenworth.
Is there? Oh my god.
Oh my god. But we find the lake rune on a corpse that's. They're not looking at the lake, are they?
They're near the brain sucker, but like they're kind of near the lake.
Okay.
It's the brain sucker that's like near the tree, so it's kind of lake-ish.
I just had a vision.
Go on.
Like, okay, so imagine someone who's like thinks lakes are not real and has never seen a lake in their life, right? And so
How
they
would
show,
that work?
I don't know, it's a vision. So then they show up to Bergenworth and they look outside and they see this giant lake and they're like, oh my god, it's real. And then their head explodes and they die. That's how I envision this NPC.
Yeah, that's one way of interpreting what happened.
Hey, Garata. So what is your interpretation? What is your story for this character?
Well, I assume it's someone from Bergenworth, and they did a bunch of weird shit with the lake, and then there's like, ah!
Excellent.
I mean, you
Thank you.
find, like, there's a bunch of corpses by the side of the lake that have the, it's like Great One's wisdom and Madman's knowledge and stuff. So the idea is, like, the lake was the source of, well, you know, like Willem meditating at the lake and
Yeah.
stuff, where it's like, okay, the lake was kind of like a source of arcane power at Bergenworth, so ergo arcane lake rune.
Thank you, Richie. You know what would be funny? That's another vision.
Go
You know-
on, Sin. What would be funny?
Have you ever played Borderlands?
No.
Basically, when you kill a boss, I think one of the final bosses or the final boss, I just remember it exploding into a million guns, just like million loops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're all different colors. It's like friggin', I don't know, like a parade. It's amazing. So I just imagine if you show up to Willem's Lunarium and you kill Willem, but then he explodes into like a million runes, all different colors, because he meditated so much.
Well, so it's like a like you've killed something in Neo and it just explodes into like multicolored junk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we patch that in?
Well, maybe if we're hired to do Bloodborne Remastered
Okay.
in 2025.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Richie. And could you tell us about the Isru Chalice Arcane Rune?
Well, East is the arcane place, so it makes sense that there'd be an arcane lake rune there because it's where all the eldritch shit is.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you, Richie. And I guess that's it. I mean, do you have any final words about the runes?
Do you?
Well,
I swear to God, that was 15 runes and it took less time than, like, just remember when you wanted to talk about the Lord Vessel and it went for, like, 45 minutes?
yay.
Yeah.
So ever since we established that Lake Rune is actually Cake Rune,
Yeah.
do you know what song has been playing on loop in my head?
No.
Talk to me, baby. I'm going blade from this sweet, sweet craving. Whoa. Let's lose our minds and go fucking crazy. I keep on hoping we'll eat cake runes by the ocean.
I don't know what the original song of that is.
Lake rune, cake by the ocean.
Oh my God. Bravo, Miyazaki.
Richie, do the outro.
That was all 15 lake runes in a special supersized edition of Runes of Bloodborne that I think is shorter than most of the episodes doing one rune. So if people have never seen a lake before and they're worried that the site will destroy them, but they want to try anyway, where should they go?
You know what? I would start with small things, like maybe find a puddle, like start into a puddle.
Just imagine it's bigger. Get very close to the puddle so it seems larger.
Yeah. Another thing I would recommend is, like, if you have a bathtub, try to fill it up with water, you know, like, yeah. A swamp. You know the swamp lake rune? Maybe visit that first. Like, it's a little bigger, it's a little weirder, but, like, look at it, try to get used to it. The lake in the Forbidden Woods, the one that's dissipating lake, where it's not really a lake, but it's dissipating. Yeah. You know, go there, like get your feet in the water, like get used to that.
Okay.
And then you can, I think, face a real lake.
Wow.
You know what? Maybe this makes sense. Maybe that's what it's all about. This is why the lake runes are found in, like, a swamp. A lake that's not really a lake. It's for people who have never seen a lake before in their life, and they have to take a lake journey from little lakes and then end up at the big lake in Bergenworth. And they have to go through all that journey so their heads don't explode when they get there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What other bodies of water would you have?
What do you mean?
You know, like there's lake and there's sea, but would you also have like puddle, stream, waterfall, lagoon?
Where are you going with this? I don't follow.
I'm not. I'm just asking you. It's the sort of question you'd ask me.
You poor child. Is this how you feel whenever I ask you a question? Where is this going? What's gonna happen? Why are we calling Lake King